That one is what? Srila Prabhupada said so.
And in, I think it was Mexico City, there was a balcony where he was staying, a lot of people underneath, and they had to get permission from the government for him to speak or something. So they checked, and the government says, yes, he can speak, but he can't use a sound system. And you can't, speak to all those people without a sound system. So that was where he told that story to the devotees about you can pass stool, but if you pass one drop of urine, I'll beat you with this stick. The story I just said. Anyway, I don't know what else.
Can you tell that 10 minutes outside the store again?
What?
That booked outside store that person said in 10 minutes you should go.
Oh, I was distributing in front of I think it was a big grocery store or a big department store. Manager came out. He was really upset. He says, I want you out of here in 10 minutes. You better be gone. So then he went back in and I kept distributing. And then he came out really mad. He said, I just told you to leave. I said, you just told me I have 10 minutes more to distribute. The people don't think when they say things. In the Navy, I had this is a whole other story, but I was just fried with the whole Navy. And I got in trouble because I didn't listen to my superior, so I had to go see the executive officer. He's the second in charge in the squadron. So as I'm talking to him, and he says, Star says this, Star's the name of the guy, Star says that. And I tried to explain something. Star said, I said, you're not listening to a word I say. He said, that's right. And then he goes on, and then he asked me a question, and I don't answer. And he asked me again, I don't answer. And he's getting upset. I said, why should I answer you when you just told me you're not listening to a word I say? And then he actually was not as bad as I thought he was. He was really concerned. He sent me to the sick bay, find out what's wrong with me because that's not normal. and then I thought I was going to get out of the Navy on a it's called for health reasons, and it's an honorable discharge, and I could get out. What?
Yeah,
Anyway, when I thought that, I became happy, and then that was the end of it. When I was depressed, I could have got out if I stayed depressed, but I couldn't stay depressed because I got happy thinking I'm going to get out. That's the example I use for Prabhupada says you can't always be happy and you can't always be distressed. Nobody wants to always be distressed, but I wanted to be distressed so that I can get out of the Navy, but I couldn't do it.
Because you became?
I became happy because I thought I was going to get out, and they sent me to sick bay and see. And then I talked to first physically, they said nothing was wrong. Then they sent me to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist asked me, how much longer do you have in the Navy? And I said something like 9 months. It's 4 years total, but I had like 9 months left. And he said, oh, you'll be able to make it. So I went back, and then the same executive officer talked to me, and he asked what the psychiatrist said. And I told him, he asked me when I'm getting out. I told him 9 months. And he says I should be able to make it. He was really upset that that's what the psychiatrist said. It's like psychiatrists didn't care about me. And I realized he actually cared about me, this executive officer. He was acting like a real tough guy, but he was really, he was pretty tough, but he was also had this caring side. Anyway, that was the Navy. But anyway, I kind of just say what I think.
You just told me initially right now. Which one? One is that when they came to arrest while book distribution in school.
Oh, I dropped off 4 people or 3 people, and they were in a new town. We're not anywhere near the bus, and I have to pick them up. So the cops picked me up, and the best way to not get arrested is if you act really scared. So I acted really scared. They were my great acting abilities. Uh, and one of the police officers said, "Are you on any kind of medication?" 'Cause and I told him, "I take vitamins." Then when they did let me go, I was thinking, "Sucker." But I had to do it. I had to do it. Normally, that's all right. You can leave it there. Normally, I don't care. They arrest me. I'm not. I don't. I may act really humble, but when they're going to arrest me, then I get. It's no big deal. But it was a big deal only because I had. In America, you probably know. Maybe you know. On some parking lots of big parking lots of stores, they have like a goodwill. Goodwill means you put your old clothes in there, or you put stuff in it. Anyway, one time I didn't pick up a devotee. He slept in that bin overnight.
We have one right across in Basel.
We have a goodwill. Yeah, not the
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And maybe, can you just narrate that again? The dean, you went to the dean because you were leading this.
Oh, let's see. We were distributing at a university, going door to door in the dormitories. That's what was like the best, because it's college students. I got another one I could tell you too. Remind me of a black school we went to. But anyway, so the security guards picked us all up, and they brought us to the dean. And the dean wants to know what we're doing. And I told him about there was a rumor once that the Himalayan mountains were going to give birth. And a lot of people went to the foothills of the Himalayas. And then there was like a small earthquake. And out from the Himalayan mountains came a pack of rats. And I said, and people, they look at these universities like something great is going to come out. And what comes out? A pack of rats. I said, they have no real knowledge of the self. They have no, Anyway, he just cut me off and told the guy. He was going to kind of put me in my place, saying, this is wrong, this, that. But when I told him that, he's smart enough to see it's useless talking to these people. So he just had the security guards bring us off campus. That's it. And if we come back, we get arrested, which we didn't go back. And another time, I didn't know this, but in the South, they have black colleges, all blacks, girls and boys together, but all blacks, no white people. So we tried doing black college. And, one floor, they have like this, he's like a big guy he's authorized. Nobody can do anything unless he said it's okay. So I talked to him first about how we're not the body. We're not white, we're not black, we're not male, we're not female. We're all spirit, soul, parts and parcels of God. So, anyway, whatever I said, he authorized that I can. He wasn't any official position. He was just, that's the way, he was the top of the line there. So I was distributing, and I went into one room, and this room was like two rooms. It was really a big room, and there was a lot of people there, both boys and girls, college students, and they were, like partying and stuff. But when I came, I'm dressed in saffron, shaved head, dhoti, kurta, and and when I went in, one big guy in the room, I start talking to him. Everyone's listening. It's really quiet. And he says, when I told him something, he said, God is black. And I said, I know that. And then he said, I'm God. And I said, no. God is black, but he's beautiful. And everyone except for him in the room started cracking up laughing. So, but I can tell you, we did not do very well in the black college. I don't know if they had money, but they certainly wouldn't spend it. They were pretty poor. That's what I think.
Sorry, मेरा नाम तक भी आ रहा है.
What?
It's okay. Then, what was? Can you share that? Outside the mall, we were bathing and police came.
Oh, in the morning, we would get up. Well, we would get up 6 hours after we went to bed, because sometimes we stay up real late, but we sleep 6 hours. And we got up, and it was still kind of dark. It was definitely dark because the cops even had their lights on. And we're in the back of a mall. See the faucet over there? They have faucets, but they don't have the handles. We will carry our own handles so we can open up the faucet. You know, it's cold water, and we take our baths underneath the faucet. We soap up, and we have a gumshoe on, and we take a bath. And nobody comes into the vehicle until after you're dried off. So while we're doing that, we're all totally drenched with water, and 2 cop cars come from each end of the mall, so we can't escape, you know. And when they come, they see us, and I just act like you're scared, because that's what you do with cops. And I told them, we're monks, we're traveling, and cleanliness is next to godliness, and we just need to take a bath. And anyway, they kind of laughed. They didn't mind. They were called because we were robbing the mall, robbing the store. Some people seen us go back there and not come out, like, you know. So, but anyway, they let us finish our bath. I mean, some of them are reasonable. Most of them are reasonable.
Then ice cream story also. Like
What?
gallons of ice cream. I 4 gallon ice.
What did she say?
4 gallons of ice
Ice
cream.
cream store.
Somebody gave.
Oh, well, we would park in the parking lots when they're making deliveries in the morning. We chant our japa, we walk around, chant our japa, and some devotees would go to the trucks that are making deliveries and beg some food, whatever they're delivering, you know, that we can eat. So this one guy, he got 4 gallons of ice cream, all together, 1, 2, 3, 4, wrapped in plastic. And I said, we can't take that. Just bring it back. And he was so upset, but he brought it back. That was like a cheaper ice cream. Then the guy thought, oh, you want the good stuff. He gave him 4 gallons of Breyer's ice cream, which is like, Breyer's has a tulsi leaf on the package. It's not a tulsi leaf, but it's a leaf. And I saw that the guy really wanted to give something. So I told him, go, just bring it back and take only 1 gallon. Because I felt bad for the man himself. He wants to donate, and we're not taking it. It's for his spiritual benefit. So we took 1 gallon. Another time, while we're in the parking lot, chanting japa, walking around, I don't know how many cop cars came. Several of them came, and they came around. They had their guns out, like shotguns. And someone called them up and told them we're robbing the bank. Now, we're dressed as devotees. And I told them, if we're going to rob the bank, why would we dress like this? It's like, anyway, so after a while, they searched us. They put us against our van, our hands against, and searched us, make sure we don't have any weapons. Anyway, then they told us that we have to leave town. We can't stay there. I said, why? She says, because if you don't, we're going to arrest you. I said, what are you going to arrest us for? And he said, indecent exposure. We're dressed like this, indecent exposure. So I know they can arrest us for anything. And then later on, after a day, they let us go. You know, there's no proof. So we just left town. I mean, my false ego wanted to stay to prove I'm right. They can't do that. But what's the use, you know? You know, just have to just go somewhere else and distribute there. Mhm.
And more.
Probably there's a lot more. I got to think. I don't know. So many things happen on sankirtan. We had one devotee who came to me. I think it was Ramacharya, and he met this boy on sankirtan, black body boy, and the boy wants to distribute the books, and he asked me if it's okay, and I said no. I said he's just going to steal the money, because I grew up in New York City and I don't trust anybody, But so I didn't. But anyway, so he did somehow distribute books, and we also got to know him and his. We went early in the morning. We slept outside of his house. About 4 in the morning, he came out and he let us in one at a time to use his shower. His parents are there, but he let us use his fucking shower. And his name was Kavidat. He became initiated by Prabhupada, Kavidat. It's like amazing. I just met him, and he wanted to distribute the books, and he did, and he gave the money, So that was pretty unusual. I think his brother was Raktak. He got initiated to Raktak.
The brother's name was?
What?
What was the brother's name?
Raktak.
Raktak.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where they are now. I know Raktak called me up once because he was in Hartford, part of the Hartford temple at one time. And I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, he called me and asked what's going on, how things go. He was really nice. So was Kavidat. Both of them were real nice. Raktak was a lot bigger.
I remember. Can you share that? Bhargav Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada said, don't come for the program.
What?
Bhargav Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada said, don't come for the evening.
But that he tells that story. That's online, but I could tell it. Badraj. So I knew him because I was into
That was Varadaraj Prabhu or
what?
Bhargav? Who was it?
It was Bhargava. Sorry, Bhargava. There's Badraj is another one who introduced me to Bhargava, actually. But Bhargava, he was a photographer at the ISKCON Press, and when they take pictures, it's click, 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 click. It's a single lens reflux. Everything moves. It's not like quiet. You don't hear anything. So he was taking pictures of Prabhupada giving class, and Prabhupada was getting annoyed because it's disturbing him when he's trying to think. And there was a program that evening, and Prabhupada told him, don't go to the program tonight. And Bhargava thought his life was finished, and he was really, really upset. And so, of course, he didn't go to the program, and he just was walking around in the days around town. And when Prabhupada came back, he says, where's Bhargava? And it said, find Bhargava, bring him to me. So they went looking all over and they found him, and they brought him to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, why weren't you at the program? And he said, Srila Prabhupada, you told me not to go. He said, even if I tell you not to go, still you should go. You have to know, not just literally, it's what he really means. I would say, when I've heard stories about Bhakta Swami with Prabhupada, he understood that. He didn't accept what Prabhupada said. He accepted what Prabhupada wanted. He knew what Prabhupada wanted. But I would have done the same thing as Bhargava, and I would have felt my life was finished. But more advanced devotees, just like even when I was thinking about the bullock cart, when Prabhupada, when he was leaving his body and he wants to go on a bullock cart, and there was two groups of people. I remember at the time, I was for the group that wants to take. Prabhupada said he wants to go to take him. But then there was Tamo Krishna, Bhakta Charu Swami, and several others who were saying, no, you can't. It's gonna kill him. Can't do it. So they're trying to figure out how to. Then they wound up getting, I think, one of Prabhupada's godbrothers or friends, I don't remember who, to talk to him and tell him not to go. And anyway, then he didn't go. But so there was, I was more literal. Prabhupada says something, I just accepted that, whereas others knew what Prabhupada really meant. Sankirtan.
You can tell something. That car chase.
What?
The car chase to see Prabhupada when you were distributing books and you came to know that Srila Prabhupada has come in New York.
Oh, that's so many things. But another one in the car, 'cause I'm a good driver. Some people started, they were after us, and the devotee says, let's get out of here. So I'm driving, and the car's behind me. And I went to, in the States, they used to have these photo boxes, basically, in the parking lot, where you can bring you drive in with your car, you don't drive in, you hand them some film, and then they'll give you paper, and they develop your film in the days before digital. And so when these guys are chasing us, I start driving around that thing, and then I go away, and they kept driving around.
And why they were chasing? They wanted to lose him.
I don't know what they wanted. People don't like us because we're happy. We used to be Santa Claus too. We'd go out dressed as Santa Claus.
Distributing Bhagavad Gita?
No, mostly collecting. But we collect so much. Really a lot. I remember collecting over $500 in one day, just with a can. And we'd have these sayings like, ho, 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 Merry Christmas. Have you been a good little girl this year? Santa knows.
Okay.
And Santa, he knows when you're good, he knows when you're bad, he knows when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. So we would say this to people, and then we'd ask for if you could donate to help Santa's reindeers are really hungry. If you have some of the green stuff, you can donate, show them. And we'd say all kinds of things. And we make people laugh, and they give money. It's America. I don't know how it would work in other countries. But we would collect really big. So, but it was kind of crazy, the Santa Claus. It was like 5 Santa Clauses in one van, and we just drop them off all different places and come and pick them up.
This was 1970.
Probably in the 70s. Yeah, definitely the 70s. Because in the 80s, maybe they're still doing it. I don't know, but I wasn't doing it anymore. On Radha Damodar, we all were Santa Clauses for like a month. We just approach the adults. We'd say some jokes. I remember with we went to Greenwich Village, and there was a lot of gay people there, gay guys. So I went up to one gay guy. Have you been a good little boy this year? Santa knows. And he goes, who are you? Who are you? He's thinking I know. And but they would always give something. People think you know them, and you know what they did. Anyway, Santa Claus, that was very big, collecting money. And we collected money because there were other devotees at the airports distributing books. And then they can distribute the books for much cheaper. But it all went for book distribution. Anyway.
Do you have some... Was Shiki Mahiti Prabhu and you ever distributed books together, or he was always in Chicago? Shiki Mahiti?
No, he was on Radha Damodar for a while. Yeah, he's a really nice devotee. But Radha Damodar took over the Chicago temple.
Okay.
We first just had buses. Then we somehow took over Chicago and Houston and St. Louis. Those were all Radha Damodar temples. And when they were, it's just interesting, when the temple presidents were really upset with Radha Damodar for taking all their brahmacharis, and they don't want Radha Damodar doing this. On Radha Damodar, I was in India that year. And I also like to say I never tried to convince anybody to join Radha Damodar, from another temple. I don't even know. I know they did. People did. I didn't even know what was going on. People were doing it, but they definitely were. Uh, Even in Boston, they convinced everybody to leave the temple and join the party, and except for me, nobody tried to convince me because they knew I follow my authority. So Adi Keshra, who's on Radha Damodar, talked to Tradas, who's the temple president, that Pyari really has to go on Radha Damodar because he's really doing badly. He's not doing good. He's in Maya. If you go to Radha Damodar, he'll be. And so Tradas, my temple president, told me to go to Radha Damodar. So I may be the only one who went without sneaking off and joining them. And then Adi Keshra talked to the temple president, and he left and joined Radha Damodar. But they definitely did that. But when they were doing that, the Radha Damodar party was thinking, we can take over all these temples. We have enough devotees. We can be in charge of all the temples, and so puffed up. We were very puffed up. Not me, of course. No, we thought we're better. We're better than I don't know if we thought we're better than the temple devotees, but we definitely. I know we had nothing to do with women at all. If I see a woman, I had a woman come over to me on sankirtan. She's from another temple, and she says, "Haribol Prabhu, oh, what temple are you from? Really happy." I said, "Radha Damodar." And just walked. Maya. Yeah, I remember that.
Because you were brahmacharis that time.
I also was distributed to the women, distributed to men, and I found distributing to women was agitating my mind. So for a whole year, I didn't distribute to women, and I still did just as good. And most people in the parking lots are all women. So I'd have to look around. And one time I remember approaching some woman thinking it was a man. I see it's a woman. I says, "We got these books. Do you want one?" Because I didn't want to talk to her. I wasn't a fanatic. I was a fanatic. But another time with this other devotee, I won't say his name because I don't know if he'd want to be known for doing this, but I look for him. I'm picking him up, and he's in the bushes hiding. And he says, he runs out to the van. Says, let's go. Police are looking for him. Everybody's looking for him. I said, why? Because this one guy, or these Christians, were blaspheming, and he punched him in the face. The devotee punched him. And this devotee, he used to be, you probably don't know here, but he was young, but they have Golden Glove boxers, which are young people who are boxers. And he was a Golden Glove boxer, and he was like one of the better ones. And he punched the guy, and he knocked him down, and now they were all looking for him. We did a lot of things like that. Another time, the Moonies. The Moonies was another group that would go out and sell. We started first. They Reverend Moon, Sung Young Moon. Hope we don't get in trouble for this if I say this over here. But one time, they sell stuff, and they were very enthusiastic, and they were brainwashed, thinking this guy is Jesus Christ. He's a Korean guy. Why would Jesus go to Korea? I don't know. But anyway, So we found out where, like they brought all their stuff to a gas station. They got dropped off and they have all the stuff they're selling in the gas station. So we drove into the gas station. We got to get our stuff, and we took everything and we left. So I don't know if there's anything wrong with that, but it seemed to work. They couldn't sell anything, and we had a lot of stuff that we gave it to the bus, and they figured out how to sell it, whatever it was. Yeah, but so the Radha Damodar was okay. Another devotee. I like this devotee. He was on my party, and he comes back after book distribution, and he has a bottle of saffron. Saffron is pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Actually, saffron pound per pound is more expensive than gold. So he got a bottle of saffron. I said, "Where'd you get that?" He says he was out on sankirtan. He wasn't doing good. He felt depressed, so he stole it. And after that, he felt a lot better. And then he went out. This is what Prabhupada did. He made these people devotees who were just so bad in one sense, but they're devoted to Prabhupada. And we put it in our milk, saffron. We'd have hot milk. And I liked him. He came and bought that bottle of saffron. But there's so many things I don't know how I'm going to remember.
You can tell that again that Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj said blasphemy, criticism, he asked Prabhupada. That's not Sankirtan.
Tamal Krishna.
He said that he were telling us, Prabhuji, that His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj asked Prabhupada,
Right.
what is blasphemy?
But that's in the database. You could find that. Anyway, Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked Srila Prabhupada, what is the difference between fault finding, blasphemy, and calling a spade a spade? And Prabhupada says, just like I say unto you, you're nothing but a small fig. That's calling a spade a spade. And what are the other two? You'd always just try. And then just recently I read, and I read it previously, but I read it again, is they're on a morning walk. And Tamal Krishna's there, Hridayananda Swami's there, a lot of big sannyasis are there. And Rameshwar, who's in charge of the BBT, is telling Prabhupada about South America, how they're doing so many books on the Hridayananda Swami. Hridayananda Swami is firing them up and he's glorifying Hridayananda Swami. And then Srila Prabhupada says, shh, talk softly, because if Tamal Krishna hears, he'll have a heart attack. Prabhupada would very often talk about trying to make Tamal Krishna humble, but in very funny ways. But Tamal Krishna.
Prabhupada liked Tamal Krishna.
Oh yeah, he liked them very much. He liked all of the disciples, but Tamal Krishna did really big. He was Radha Damodar was distributing more books than any other temple anywhere. It was just really, it was all brahmacharis. They went out every day, 6 days a week. The seventh day, we counted everything, we cleaned, we seen what our inventory is. We did a lot of stuff. Not that we didn't work. And then we read a little more on the seventh day than we normally do.
Can you quote that one when Srila Prabhupada said that you have to do 5,000? I think that was back to God Advisor. That was Srila Prabhupada said to Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, can you get me next month 5? What was that? That 5?
I don't know that. I didn't say that.
Or something related to the Ali temple that they have to distribute monthly 5,000. Can you commit that? Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj is told, and he said yes, Prabhupada.
I never said that. I've heard something like that, but I don't know details. But I was at a meeting with Radha Damodar leaders. I was the Radha Damodar leader, a band leader. They're bus leaders and they're van leaders. And but all the leaders went and met with Prabhupada. I think it was in Chicago. And well, Prabhupada said, all these men are blessed. And I thought, I'm here too. That means me too. I'm blessed. I was very happy. I was thinking of how, I'm here. He said all of them. So that means me. Anyway, I was sitting down, cross-legged, and my legs were hurting. And then I'm starting to think that by my legs hurting, I'm not saying this is logical, but by my legs hurting and I'm giving off these vibrations and I'm going to ruin this whole meeting with Prabhupada. And then it was like a wave from Prabhupada's mercy came over me and I had no pain. I felt, and then I didn't want to cry. I felt like crying because Prabhupada just relieved me of all pain that I had. No, just amazing. So that happened. And in that meeting, Prabhupada showed the Vrindavan temple that they're building. They didn't build it yet. They're building it. And he showed them the tamal tree. And he had us pass around a picture of this tamal tree. And Prabhupada says, isn't it a beautiful tamal tree? And I looked at it and I thought, it looks like a tree. I didn't see anything special about it. But the tamal tree is very special to, I think, Radharani, because it looks like Krishna or something,
Yes.
blackish. But anyway, at that meeting, he also said, Tomo Krishna Maharaj mentioned that Radha Damodar, because it was Radha Damodar before Tomo Krishna took over, that was run by Kirtanananda and Vishnu Jan, and they did festivals at colleges, and it was called the Transcendental Road Show. And I've seen it. I really thought it was great. When Prabhupada saw it once, he said, "Are these our men?" Because they're dressed in tie-dye dhotis, and it's just far out like music and lights, and just perfect for attracting the people at that time. But so I don't know what happened to why that was changed. But Tamal took over and he showed Prabhupada that in the first year that he took over, first of all, when Kirtanananda was in charge, they sent, for 1 year, they sent $500 to the book fund. And now that Tamal Krishna's took over, the first year we sent $50,000 to the book fund.
50,000.
Yeah. They also gave Prabhupada a check. I think right there, I was in the room when they gave a check for $10,000 to Prabhupada. We definitely collected a lot. That was the first year. After that, they did way more than 50,000. So Prabhupada said transcendental accounting, because Keshava Bharati was telling him he was our treasurer. Let's see if anything else happened there. Oh, after we left that meeting, Drishtadyumna Maharaj, he was a Maharaj at that time, he said that when Prabhupada was showing the tree, he was talking about, like in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the tree of Lord Chaitanya and the branches. So he was saying like the Tamal tree, like from Tamal. And when he not just told me, he told a lot of the devotees after the meeting, I thought that made sense. I really thought that made sense. Because I didn't see the tree as anything special. But I'm not saying that's what it meant.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's what he said. And when he said it, I thought that's probably what Prabhupada meant.
That's like, what was the purport? Like Chaitanya Charitamrita's tree? This tree Tamal is distributing books.
No, there's in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's Lord Chaitanya tree, and from him there were all
Yeah,
these
yeah,
branches. Of course, it's branches, but he didn't say, look at the branch on this tamal tree. He didn't say that. He just said the tree. So I don't know. I don't know what he really meant. I think later on, I thought he's just talking about the tamal tree. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's speculation, whatever else we think it might mean. But at the time when he said it, I thought that was true.
Even just share when you first saw Prabhupada and you were thinking that you had to see Prabhupada and like the first experience of seeing Prabhupada.
Oh, yeah, I got to chant my rounds.
Just last one.
Okay, I wanted to see Prabhupada. I wanted to see him as something special, but I didn't want what I desire to interfere what he really looks like. So I was very objective. I wanted to see him just objectively, if he looks any different than anybody else. And when I saw him, I was like amazed. It was like no comparison to him. And I remember thinking, he's the most beautiful anything I ever saw. Nothing so beautiful as Prabhupada. And it was so, way over the top that there's no way I was looking objectively that I could see this. He was really, now that was the first time. I've seen him other times. I didn't see him that same way every time, but I did see it the first time. Krishna showed me what he was really like, how he was completely spiritual, something completely spiritual. It's not of this world, and you can, and he wasn't of this world. Yeah, so you're welcome. Just 1 or 2, 3. So now my doctor tell me what else I'm supposed to do. Huh?